about what it would be like to see the world through the heart sight of God. John Ruskin, England's foremost art critic, used this term heart sight to parallel eyesight when describing the skill of art. He had trained many of students in this profession, such as Dante Rossetti. However, he was captivated upon meeting the young Lilias Trotter. Her skill was matchless, and Ruskin offered a most promising future, yet her talent went unrealized. Instead, Lilias Trotter sacrificed her love of art for her love of people. Regardless of whether she was at the mission hostel in England or in Algeria with her Muslims, she never lost the ability to see with the revelation of God's heart. This revelation is illustrated in the piece I will be presenting called Focused, a Story and a Song by Lilias Trotter. It was in a little wood in early morning. The sun was climbing behind a steep cliff in the east, and its light was flooding nearer and nearer, and then making pools among the trees. Suddenly, from a dark corner of purple-brown stems and tawny moss, there shone out a great golden star. It was just a dandelion and half withered, but it was full face of the sun and had caught into its heart all the glory it could hold, and was shining so radiantly that the dew that lay on it still made a perfect aureole around its head. And it seemed to talk, standing there, to talk about the possibility of making the very best of these lives of ours. For if the sun of righteousness has risen upon our hearts, then there is an ocean of grace and love and power lying all around us, an ocean of which all earthly light is but a drop, and it is ready to transfigure us, just as the sunlight transfigured the dandelion, and on the same condition, that we stand full faith to God, gathered up, focused lives, intent on one aim. These are the lives of which God can concentrate blessedness. It is all for all by a law as unvarying as any law that governs the material universe. We see this principle shadowed in the trend of science, the telephone and the wireless in the realm of sound, and use of radium and ultraviolet rays in the realm of light. All these work by gathering into focused currents and waves that dispersed cannot serve us. In every branch of learning and workmanship, the tendency of these days is to specialize, to take up one point and follow it to the uttermost. And if Satan knows the power of concentration, if a soul is likely to get under the sway of inspiration, this one thing I do, he will in turn bring all his energies to side interests that will shatter the gathering intensity. And they lay all around us, these interests. Never has it been so easy to live in half a dozen good, harmless worlds at once. Art, music, the social sciences, games, motoring, the following of a profession, and so on. And between them, we run the risk of drifting about the good, hiding the best even more effectually than it could be hidden by downright frivolity, with its smothered heartache and its own emptiness. It is easy to find out whether our lives are focused, and if so, where the focus lies. Where do our thoughts settle when consciousness comes back in the morning? Where do they swing back when the pressure is off during the day? Does this test give us the clue? Then dare to have it out with God, and after all, that is the shortest way. Dare to lay bare your whole life in being before Him, and ask Him to show you whether or not all is focused on Christ and His glory. Dare to face the fact that unfocused good, as useful as it may seem, will prove to have failed of its purpose. What does this focusing mean? Study the matter, and you will find that it means two things: to gather in all that is to be gathered, and to let the rest drop. The working of any lens, microscope, telescope, camera, will show you this. The lens of your own eye in the room where you are sitting as clearly as any other. Look at the window bars, and beyond is a shadow. Look through the distance, and the bars turn into a ghost. You have to choose where you will fix your gaze and let the other go. Are we ready for a cleavage to be wrought through the whole range of our lives, like the division long ago in the taking of Jericho? the division between things that could be passed through the fire of concentration in the treasury of the Lord, and the things that unable to bid the fire must be destroyed. All aims, all ambitions, all desires, all pursuits, shall we dare to drop them if they cannot be gathered sharply and clearly into this one thing I do? Will it not make life narrow, this focusing? In a sense it will, just as the mountain path grows narrow. For what matters most, the higher we go, where do we set our feet? But there is always, as it narrows, a wider and clearer outlook with purer air. Narrow as life's Christ was narrow, this is our aim. Narrow as regards self-seeking, but broad as the love of God to all around. Is there any fear in that? In the narrowing and focusing, the channel will be prepared for God's power, like the stream hem behind the rock beds that wells up in spring like the burning glad that gathers the rays into an intensity that will kindle fire. It is worthwhile to let God see what he can do with these lives of ours, when to live is Christ. How do we bring things to focus in a world of optics, not by looking to the things that should be dropped, but by looking at the one point that is to be brought up? Turn full your soul's vision to Jesus and look at him, and a strange dimness will come over all that is apart from him, and the divine attraction by which God's saints are made, even in this 20th century, will take hold of you. For he is worthy to have all there is to be had in the heart that he has died